Welcome to the Darkstream. Sorry about that silent intro. That was a bit of a mistake, but it's late, and so we're just going to roll with what we got. Welcome to the Darkstream. I'm Voxday, unauthorized.tv, and for those of you who have invites and have access, we have now moved the new site to unauthorized.tv. If you go to the blog, the links to subscribe that are still on the old site are still accessible there. So it's all good. We're talking about insurrection tonight. Why are we talking about insurrection? Well, for those of you who follow QAnon, you already know what is up. You know, Q talked about the Insurrection Act of 1807 a couple days ago, and so it's very interesting to see that the president is now talking openly about it. Why? Do these riots really require that level of military intervention? Of course not. What's happening now is actually very tame compared to the riots of 1968. If you look at the Chicago Days of Rage, the Watts riots, etc., etc., even in the Rodney King riots, 63 people lost their lives in Los Angeles. You know, I think, what, 4, maybe 5 people have died across the entire country as a result of what's going on. And so this is all for show. You can see, watching anywhere. My friends who are reporting to me from Minneapolis have been telling me things that very, very strongly indicate the organized nature of everything that's happening. You know, this is a relatively disciplined set of riots. You know, people have talked about the whole Antifa, and obviously they are involved in attempting to fan the flames of the jogger-related riots, etc., etc. But it is all smoke and mirrors. It is all related to the lockdown. It's all related to Pizzagate. All of this stuff. It's all related to QAnon. It's all one holistic whole. And so it's not just diversions while they loot. This is a much, much bigger situation. And that's why you're seeing this remarkably restrained response from both the blue state governors, the blue state mayors, as well as the president. What they're attempting to do is they're attempting to get the president to overreact. It's if you look at the people that are involved in this, it started in Minneapolis, right? What a lot of people don't realize is that Jacob Frey is a cabal creature through and through. He's not from Minnesota. He's not from Minneapolis. He was parachuted in from Virginia with the idea of him winning elected office there. A friend of mine who actually knows him said that there's an incredible amount of money behind him. And that's why he and the governor have absolutely refused to do what they need to do in order to stop the riots, because they don't want to. You know, they actually managed, when the National Guard actually showed up last night, it shut everything down. So what does the governor immediately do? Calls them off. And it's really interesting here. For example, listen to this. Let's see, where did I find that? Okay, that's not what I wanted. I was told by my friend about all of these cars that kept driving down Washington Avenue. Now, Washington Avenue is directly north by a couple blocks of where the fires were being set. It's about a mile away. Where he is about a mile and a half away from the precinct that burned. And so he said that there was a car last night driving without plates, without headlights, and it just went speeding down the road. And when the police didn't follow them, went speeding down the road, and was clearly attempting to draw the police off, so that the other cars, which he said were full of 99% black people, the few license plates that were on the cars were actually from Illinois. And they were all, he said, all the drivers were looking at their phones. They were getting instructions as they were driving along. All right, so we know everything's organized. Look at the way that the quote unquote activists are behaving. You know, the whole peaceful protest thing, hands up, don't shoot, the way that they push forward, and then suddenly put their hands up and try to look innocent. What they're trying to do is they're trying to provoke a response. They're trying to get the president to step in because the Democratic governors, Democratic mayors will not take care of the problem themselves, because they're in on it. There's absolutely no question that they're in on it, because all of these people are funded by the same group of people. You know, all of this stuff is related. And when I said that it's all about, all right, let's get rid of this Anyhow, what's important to observe is the patterns. Look at the patterns that are playing out here. And we're seeing that you've got Antifa, which we know are funded by the Promethean, Soros, etc., etc. He's just one of them. It's not all him, but he's obviously behind a lot of it. He's also funding the attorneys general, the secretaries of state, the mayors, and some of the governors. And so all of this is a last-ditch attempt to try to prevent Trump from being reelected. The reaction to the coronavirus was the same way. Why was so much of the response from the state and local authorities in the Democratic areas so wildly backwards? Because they were attempting to make it worse. That's why they were trying to, every time Trump did anything that was effective, they tried to get him to stop. Now what they're trying to do, they're flipping it, and they're trying to get him to act in a way that's going to harm him politically. And that's why the president is doing a masterful job of threatening to take over, but not actually doing it for them. Not actually absolving them of their duties and their responsibility. He's letting them fail, but he's also making it clear that he's going to step in and take care of the situation when it bans Spice Bear. He's an idiot. I am weeping. This is nonsense. Vox is speaking nonsense. No, this is exactly what's going on. And QAnon has been telling you this for years. And so, and it's fine if you think that something's nonsense. Then go away. You're not smart enough for this ride. You're not tall enough for this ride. I have no need whatsoever for stupid people who have no ability to recognize the patterns. And what all of this is pointing to is, and what Trump and his team are, what they're attempting to do is they're not interested in arresting these low-level Antifa creeps. What they're attempting to do is they want to round up the higher-level people who are funding everything. And if you recall, that's why it's so important that Antifa is given its head and is allowed to act up and frighten people and alarm everyone so that they can be declared a terrorist group, which of course they are. And then, remember, there was an executive order passed 2 years ago. And the order that was passed allows the executive branch to seize all of the bank accounts and all of the property of the people that are involved in funding terrorist organizations. So what's going on here is, on the one side, the deep state is attempting to, I'm going to tag you, the deep state is attempting to trap Trump into some sort of overreaction that they can, make hay with, some sort of Kent State type situation. And then, on the other hand, Trump is giving them enough rope to hang themselves with. Youngblood is correct. Barr has stated that they have Antifa's communications and a list of their funders. And so, Derangement Syndrome points out, Trump retweeted a video of some top Antifa guy giving rioters money in the street. Trump wrote, "We see you." Exactly. He knows what's going on. We know what's going on. This isn't, don't look at this stuff and take it at face value. You may not be aware of this, but there was a very, very similar white cop kneeling on a black guy's neck and head in France 3 days after the George Floyd incident, or I should say the so-called George Floyd incident. I don't think that George Floyd is even dead. And if he is, it's very, very unlikely the result of the police officers who are taking the fall for it.